All right, quick 5-minute video. It's Friday afternoon. Obviously, we've just played Palace, and I'm still a bit frustrated about the result. But in a way, it's nice to be frustrated because it meant that something was actually on the line. I don't believe we're in a title race. It's what I said last week. I don't think we're in a title race at all. I think it was way too soon to say something like that. And the reason for that is I don't believe our squad's good enough. You're probably thinking, oh, it's a Man United fan moaning about his squad again. Well, the truth is there are very few teams that end up winning a league. In the past 20 years, how many teams have played in the Premier League and how many teams have won it? That kind of surmises the question and answer for you. Well, one of the only teams to sort of randomly win it, if you want to say, was Leicester, right? And what happened to Leicester was they might not have had the best squad, but they had world-class Jamie Vardy in top form, Player of the Year Mahrez, they had Schmeichel in good form, and they had world-class Kante. He was like worth two people. And basically, they could just grind out results and nobody got injured from that squad. They basically played the same 11. There was no Europe. There was nothing like that. They played the same 11 every single year. A couple of teams had poor seasons and they went on and won it. I believe they were in like a 2 to 3 horse race with Leicester and Tottenham. So that kind of shows the strength of the league. Not to take anything away with Leicester. Very deserved winners. But typically, you're either doing a Man City or a Man U, where you have like brilliant squads back in the day. Or you're maybe doing an Arsenal now, where you've got a good squad, really good first 11. You've got some semi-decent backups and some backups, but your squad's still a bit thin. But no one's really been too injured. I know they've got Jesus injured, but they're managing it and the goals are ticking through. They've got goals throughout the squad. And that's kind of like how probably they'll end up winning the league effectively. So why don't I think Man U are in a title race? And obviously I'll talk about Arsenal game and the Palace game for just a second. We're not in a title race because I think the only reason we were in a title race was basically because Rashford scored, what was it, 9 in 9? Bruno and Anthony popped up with some goals, and a few people were chipping in with goals. And obviously, when the Rashford goals dried up, which happened against Palace, he had a poor game. Maybe the record was on his mind. Maybe he was selfish. Who knows, right? But he didn't perform. He didn't score. He's allowed a one-off bad game, right? Everyone's human. You play 9 fantastic games and have one bad game. Someone should be there to step up for him. Problem is, there was no goals anywhere to be seen. Weghorst is brand new to the team. Martial's injured, and that's really it. Anthony's not really going. He's very good defensively, and he works quite well with the team. But he's not scoring 1 in 2, 1 in 3, is he? Bruno's a bit hit and miss. Casemiro isn't really a goal-getter, and neither are our defenders. They're more solid defenders rather than sort of flying fullbacks. So we just lack goals. We're a good 30 goals away from a title. We're a good world-class finisher plus bonus backup player away from a title challenge, let alone a title victory. So the goals dried up and we didn't manage to win. Now, the problem was obviously, Casemiro, that we're talking about the Palace game now, Casemiro on a yellow, is if he gets a yellow, he's going to miss the Arsenal game. Well, the point is, if we didn't win that game, the Arsenal game was irrelevant anyway. And the only niggle I've got in my mind, which is frustrating, is every time Man United get themselves into a title race, whether it was with Ollie for a couple of weeks, or whether it was with Jose when he was doing well, or a couple of games for Van Gaal where we'd beaten all the top 4, it seems to be that every time we have a good result against a City or a Liverpool or whatever, we go and lose or draw the following game. Ten Hag's, how do I word it? The thing that will make Ten Hag the Man United manager long term or not is, can he get that out of their system? Because for whatever reason, whether it's squad quality, whether it's mentality, when we perform well and win a big match, we typically have a little dip in form. He's got to try and get that out of them. And it's the first time Ten Hag's seen it, really, in this team. He had a bad couple first games, then he went on a run. The pressure applied to them, a little bit of pressure about a title challenge, and they crumbled. Bruno didn't play well, Rashford didn't play well, strikers didn't play well, wingers didn't play well. There was a few arguments on the pitch, which honestly I actually like to see. It shows they care. But ultimately, he's got to fix that. Whether he can do that or not, that's a different story. But Coming into this Arsenal game with no Casemiro, that's going to be difficult. I still think we can win. I don't think Casemiro is this... You can't win without Casemiro. Look, Casemiro is an unbelievable player, probably the highest level midfielder that we've had since Carrick at the club. You know, he's that good. We can still beat Arsenal without Casemiro, but the problem is the mentality of when he got booked, everybody's head dropped, and it was like we'd already lost the Arsenal game, which is why I think we'll lose the Arsenal game, because I think mentally they're just thinking we can't win without Casemiro. So again, it's Ten Hag's job to try and instill a plan that doesn't involve Casemiro where we can win. Just for pride and spirit and bouncing back. I think we'll end up losing 2-1, 3-1 or something. Because I think we'll probably push on, get caught, and we'll lose 2-3-1 or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see. I obviously I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Just because in past history, Man United have struggled with their title challenges and mentally been there. And when I talk about the Palace game, the thing that frustrated me the most, like, and this is gonna bug some people, I know, because the strikers didn't perform well, the midfielders were sloppy. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, by the way, probably had the game of his life. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was actually brilliant. Tackles, the ball control, the way he drove forward. Like, he was better than Anthony going forward, and he was brilliant defensively. He saved us 2 points with that last-ditch scoop tackle, as Wilf Zaha called it. But what bugged me more than anything is when the pressure applied and we had 10 minutes to hang on. Obviously, Casemiro had done 2 or 3 really good challenges that kept us in the game. And so I can understand Ten Hag being reluctant to bring him off, because he's thinking, well, if I bring off Casemiro and one of those chances goes in, yeah, I've saved Casemiro for Arsenal, but we haven't got 3 points, so what's the point? So don't blame Ten Hag for not taking off Casemiro, to be honest. What I do blame is the rest of the squad not realising what the situation was and giving him a bit of help, giving him some more cover so he didn't have to do a last-ditch tackle. And the big thing that pissed me off was David De Gea was brilliant, right? But come that last 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, it was just hoof. And if you watch the game properly, you'll notice that he gave the ball away, they started the attack, and then got the free kick. And if he stopped hoofing it and he actually played football, we would have won that game. And yes, we'd have lost Casemiro. And yes, you could argue, well, we'd have lost the game without David De Gea's saves. I get that. But just because he was brilliant in one half doesn't mean you can't criticise him in the other. I know it's a tough job. It's a tough job, but, you know, if he can get that out of his game, you know, we could have probably won. And the big problem was just overall squad mentality, where I talk about the bottle and everything like that. That free kick was taken about 10 yards further forward. And if it's 10 yards further back, he isn't scoring. And the players, rather than being grumpy that Casemiro got yellow carded, rather than being nervous that they got the free kick in the first place, they should have been like, hey, listen, that's completely the wrong place. Guarded the ball, make sure the ref check it, get on him, and he pushed it back. David De Gea's positioning wasn't good. It was the exact same thing that happened against Aston Villa. So I can sort of air quotes blame De Gea. But on the same breath, I'm not going to fully blame him, because he was very good in that first half, so I'll forgive him. But the players needed to be on it. They needed to be awake. They needed to realise this was a really big moment. To be in a title challenge, that free kick should have been pushed back. Now, the game should have been put to bed by our strikers and our attackers. That's the real issue. There's not enough goals in the team. Forget David De Gea. The actual issue is there's not enough goals in the team. Martial, when a light breeze hits him, is injured and can't play. And even when he does play, he's not my favourite. I know he links play well, but I like someone that can stick the ball in the net. Ironically, I know Liverpool and City are struggling to find a way to use Haaland and Nunes. I say struggling. They're not really struggling, but you know what I mean. They'd be perfect for us, obviously, whereas we're sort of stuck with Weghorst and Martial. Going into the Arsenal game, I'm not too hopeful. I just think because that momentum of the title charge is gone. But in the same breath, it could work in our favour. Now that the pressure's gone, maybe they perform. And that's kind of where I'm at with the squad. We need a lot more goals in the team. We need backups. And the reason we're not in a title race is, imagine Casemiro and Rashford, for some stupid reason, both did their ACL. Now, if Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland tore their ACL, City could still win the league because they have the squad. If Arsenal lose Jesus and say Partey, they're probably not going to win the league. It's kind of like that. Man U have to have this perfect squad management, and in all 4 tournaments, in the league, in, you know, the Europa League as well, we don't have the squad for it. So we'll see what happens in the Arsenal game. I'm not too hopeful about it. Just think, yeah, just a mentality issue. Just switched off a little bit, got a little bit. They had the eye too much on the Arsenal game, and it's up to Ten Hag to refocus them. But yeah, I don't think we're in a title race anyway before we even played Palace, so it's fine, really. We'll see what happens against Arsenal and probably speak to you after then.